Hello humans, welcome back to another video. So, I know I've been non-stop talking about the Sacred Stones co-op series, and that's just because I love these streams so much, they're so much fun. The FE6 co-op had some insane moments and actually made us work together. The FE7 co-op was full of scheming and underhanded tactics from my end to do whatever it takes to win. Both seasons of these co-op streams were iconic in their own ways and have helped to destroy our friendships even further. But now we're back with Season 3 of the co-op streams, and we're tackling Sacred Stones. For those of you who are new or don't know, this is a stream series where the three of us, Speedy, Jay, and myself, split the roster of the game between each other. We all deploy units from our own drafted rosters on a map, and we take turns moving our own set of units around until the map is cleared. It's every man for himself, but cooperation is allowed, kind of like Fire Emblem Monopoly. And then there's, of course, sabotage, which is encouraged. There's a point system to determine a winner at the very end, so hopefully we can make it through the game. And we've completely revamped the rule set for this time around, so I'll be leaving it on screen in the description, so I'm not reading out mountains of text to you. But I'll highlight the two most important changes. The first is that Seth is banned here. Marcus ran rampant in the early game last time, and it took away from the fun and the suspense, so we're taking out the even more powerful starting paladin this time around. The second change is that we are bringing in even more sabotages. Last time it was only one sabotage per person, this time we're getting 3. So these sabotages are distributed throughout the run. We only get 1 at a time because I think 3 at a time would be a little bit OP. And if it isn't used before the next one comes in, you lose it. So you're forced to use your sabotage in between certain chapters. That'll make things a little bit more spicy. So we have 1 until the end of chapter 8. We get a new one at chapter 9 until the end of chapter 14. And then the last one is from chapter 15 until the end game. This lets you do a forced interaction, which can be in multiple forms, such as rescuing someone else's unit and holding on to them, a tactic I enjoy using to take out a unit from the game for a chapter. You can force trade an item, force someone to recruit a unit for you, or even force a unit to rush headfirst into a boss to their death. Anyway, that was kind of a long spiel, so let me get into the draft. Before we start, we have to draft teams, so we rolled a wheel to get a random draft order, which ended up starting off with Jay, then me, then Speedy, and we would draft in snake order. Being second in these isn't great, especially since there's a clear winner in the first group of units, which is Franz. Jay snagged him immediately because it was the right decision, which left me to take Colm for the utility. Speedy immediately takes Vanessa and Archer, two pretty solid picks considering Archer is promoted into Bishop, gets the Slayer skill, which will be really strong on some of the later maps. Vanessa is a flying movement unit, so always strong and relevant for racing to villages, getting objectives, rescuing and dropping, so he had a couple of good picks out the gate. I went with Gilliam for my second pick. Having Oswin in the previous co-op run was great, since early game, it was a good idea to have a tank. I know this is called co-op, but we generally have smaller little factions that are doing their own thing for each of us, so having a tank is a good idea. It went back to Jay for the double pick, and he goes with Garcia and Mulder, which again are 2 solid early game picks with high availability. Looping back to me, I'm thinking I should probably round out my party, so I took Lute, who is a mage and a potential healer, when she promotes that is, and has access to cavalry movement down the line as well. Speedy takes the duo of Joshua and Natasha to guarantee the recruit, so also very solid picks. And at this point, the board doesn't really have that many units, so I just go with a pick of Ross. I can get enough EXP on him early and he'll promote and give me a lot of points, but he's very slow and pretty weak and needs to be babied, and I don't have control over the full roster to do that, but I figured it's a better option than what was left, and I honestly didn't really want to be forced to lock in Erica. This pick, however, also decides what 2 units Jay is guaranteed to be left with, and so I gave him Erica and Naomi. Not bad, but it locks him out of Ephraim and the pick goes back to me, so I chose him right away. Round 2 goes underway with a double Speedy pick, and he makes 2 excellent choices, Ford for the Cav slot and Garrick, who's just a beast in this game. This forces my hand, and I have to take Kyle, otherwise I'm going to lose the movement race, so that's exactly what I do. Jay takes La Rochelle and Saleh, which is kind of a head-scratcher. I thought there were way better picks on the board here, so it is what it is. I snatched up Tethys, remembering the success of the Dancer and Paladin combo I executed very nicely for FE7. Now, I don't know what Speedy is thinking here, but he takes Cormag and Marissa. In theory, these are great picks, but both of these units are red and not easy to recruit in a run like this. You have some other fantastic picks left that are guaranteed recruits like Tana or Myrrh, bruisers like Duisel and Dozla, and just a solid strong unit in Innis. But to each their own, he wanted waifu power, so I respect it. I took Duisel, because he's also someone who just stays very strong into the end game, and then Jay snatched Tana and Myrrh. This hurt. I was hoping to split and grab one of them in the next round, but this leaves me kind of out of the flyer game completely, unfortunately. After that, I went with Innis, who was the best unit on the board. The others kind of sorted themselves out, as you guys can see, but one key thing was that I won both of the little prizes, and I got control over Orson for 5x. If you look at my roster, that means I have 3 out of the 4 units that deploy on that map. Speedy has the other one, and Jay doesn't get to play, which is kind of funny. Overall, I thought the draft was pretty even. Speedy has 4 out of the possible 5 red units in the game, so that'll probably hurt him, as I learned on the hard way in our last run. I have the last one, but it's Amelia, so I'm not too particularly upset. I think Jay has potentially the strongest roster here, but considering we'll each only be deploying like 4 units at most, you only need a few of your picks to turn out well and be strong in the end game, and you'll be fine. Alright, so that's the draft over and done with. Now to move on to covering the stream itself, and oh boy was this a fun one. Seeing my roster, I know I'm not going to be doing much for the first few chapters, as Jay will monopolize most of the kills between Erica and Franz, and having most of the early game roster. Instead, I ended up just kind of being quiet and eating pizza. While we were playing, I was just kind of like trying to compete as much as I could, but Gilliam doesn't really have the legs and Ross doesn't have the killing power. In Chapter 2, we ran up against our first main point of contention, Ross. Ross essentially needs to be rescued by Vanessa on turn 1, or he dies to the brigand that's right next to him. And if he dies, we also lose the Garcia recruitment. Of course, we know how Speedy is with letting us recruit units, so he elected to just let Ross battle it out with RNG for a turn. He tried to leverage it to get me to strike deals with him, but honestly, my roster doesn't need Ross, and it's highly likely he'll be dropped down the line rather than an attempt to baby him the entire time. After that first turn, the Brigand was weak enough for Speedy to roll the dice on a very low 30s hit rate javelin throw for the kill, and it landed, so Ross lives. I saved him with Seth, and Jay recruits him with Erica, which guarantees him the Garcia recruitment as long as he stays alive, which he does. Other than that, Chapter 2 was uneventful. Chapter 3 was fun because, again, I've got a green unit on this map that requires someone to talk to for a recruitment, and that's Colm. But of course, Jay runs to the opposite side of the map and will not recruit Colm for me. That's fine. I think we miss out on a couple of iron weapons, which is honestly not a big deal. The only thing that the boys didn't realize was that Colm auto-recruits at the end of the map as long as Naomi survives, so I wasn't really sweating it too much. I wasn't going to cave to any of the demands or the requests or striking a deal. It's pointless. Why would I do that? Why would I disadvantage myself? I can play dumb and then have the advantage at the end. Just because I didn't prepare for this doesn't mean I've forgotten everything about the game all of a sudden. Anyways, Chapter 4 starts and I immediately start moving my units down towards Loot's village and get a few kills and level ups here and there. Speedy beats me there, of course, because again, he has Vanessa and he just blocks the village until the end of the chapter. He and Jay are scared of a bunch of the enemies and kind of kite them down and around to where my group was until they killed most of them off. Jay continues to monopolize most of the kills and EXP on these maps, but I did manage to get the clutch boss kill with Colm and secure the objective, so that was a nice little consolation prize on points. Once again, Speedy kept trying to push me to try and strike deals with him and help him recruit Joshua. Fat chance, bro. Red hair, sword unit. Does he think I forgot what he did to not only Raven, but to completely take out Lucius, who was my run mascot? No. I will be striking no such deals. Those bridges were burned way back then already. Also, they didn't know this, but Loot also auto-recruits at the end of the chapter if Archer is alive, so sure. I lose the EXP on the map, but I don't have to make deals that don't benefit me in the long run. Now, if you guys were enjoying that little commentary on a couple of the things, this is where the real fun begins. We're at Chapter 5. I want to comment a little bit on Jay's playstyle. He's been very disruptive with his tactics. He goes last, so he gets to wait for us to move, and then he can position his units to swoop in and steal the EXP or block us off from kills or rounds of combat. But he's also just been playing a very solid game so far, helped by the fact that his Franz is turning out to be a monster. I gained a couple levels with Loot on this chapter, but none of them went into speed, which hurts her quite a bit. And then Jay swept the entire left side with Franz as I helped clear out the middle section with my trio of Gilliam, Colm, and Loot. I don't know what the hell Speedy is doing, but he's trying to dance around and snipe kills with Arthur and Vanessa while also keeping close for an attempt at the Joshua recruitment. And then there's me. I immediately see Joshua on the map and I'm seeing red here, and the only thing I can care about is like kill, kill, kill. I knew it from the moment the draft was over. I have to kill him. Like this is the revenge point. You got to do it. At some point, Jay and Speedy are being kept busy by like brigands and fighters on the southeast side, so I swoop in from the west and bait Joshua with Calm on the forest tile. It's a risk because if he crits, Calm dies, and he's a very important unit and a huge point loss, but it's a risk I was willing to take. Thankfully, Calm dodges and he chips him back for 6 damage, and we are in business. For some reason, Speedy was also greedy and left an almost dead Vanessa in range of not 1, but 2 fighters, and she goes down immediately, so that's a 30-point loss for him. Though I think some of this was my fault, as Loot missed a 92 to kill one of them. Hey, I tried. But the headline here was that Jay, who could have easily killed both, abandoned those kills to let Speedy die. And not only did he do that, he kept saying, "Hey Link, wanna do the funniest thing ever?"
Oh man, we have the chance to do the funniest thing ever.
And I see at this point, Jay's just like, we can get all of Speedy's units killed. Every single one of them. Anyways, I would say this was tragic, but what followed was much worse. Natasha ended up getting bum rushed by one of the fighters that was left over, and since she has the same movement as one of the fighters and can't out-heal the damage, she's doomed unless someone saves her. And not only that, since I was able to chip Joshua with Calm, I attacked him with Loot and chipped him again, and then landed the finishing blow on him with Gillian.
I don't care if it misses, it misses.
Yes!
You killed Raven!
At least let me have Natasha, guys. Let her live.
Wasn't even a
He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve this, guys.
Speedy, having almost lost all his units now, has to use the first sabotage of the run to force Erica to kill that last fighter for him in order to maintain his units and his score. Well, that's already in the negative at this point now, so GG, I guess? The rest of the chapter is pretty uneventful. Jay kills everything with Franz and Erica and finishes off the boss. Speedy's in a pretty bad position, but looking at his remaining roster, he has Ford, Natasha, and Arthur. It's a very solid core, and if he's able to find his stride, I don't think this is an impossible task to catch up from, but it's going to be difficult. And then we hit 5x. Remember what I said about 5x in the draft earlier on this video? Well, this is my time to shine, baby. I knew from the very beginning this is where I was using my first sabotage.
So Speedy, I know that you and I were like excited to have this 1-2 punch and play this chapter together, but unfortunately I am sabotaging here.
No!
My chapter!
No way, dude.
I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go use the bathroom.
Alright guys, so this is a let's play of just me by myself. I hope you guys enjoy the show.
I went ahead and immediately rescued Ford with Orson and took him off the map. And then at that point, it was just me trading kills between Kyle and Ephraim, getting a total of 10 combined level ups between the two of them and grabbing some nice loot between the Elixir and the Killer Lance. The chapter was pretty slow, and I took my time meticulously baiting and distributing the EXP in the end, and I managed to finish with a total of 25 extra points earned on this map alone, skyrocketing me to first place, 1 point ahead of Jay. The points that you guys are seeing on screen are probably not going to be an accurate display since we're going to wait to calculate gold points and kill points until the very end of the run, but as it stands, it's a very tight race between me and Jay with 56 and 55 points respectively, and Speedy, well, he's in the hole with negative 17 points. Maybe I'll help him a little bit later. I think I hurt him enough in these last 2 chapters, and it's more fun to have an even competition. But rest in peace, Raven. We never forget. You killed Raven, Speedy. You bear responsibility for this. Anyways, that's all for this video. I love doing these recaps since they're fun and easy to do, but there's nothing compared to the real VODs, so check those out if you're interested. And hopefully you guys come and tune in on Friday nights at 9 p.m. EST. I hope to see you there. And I'll see you all in the next video very soon. Peace.